And as families prepare to gather next week, there is still a level, certainly, of uncertainty about a potential winter surge. ABC 7 News anchor Liz Kreutz is here with a look at where things stand right now compared to where we were, Liz, 1 year ago.
Right, Dan. You know, a year ago at this time, there were double the number of COVID cases every single day statewide. Still, the CDC currently ranks California in the red tier, meaning there is a high transmission rate, and experts say we still need to be cautious in the weeks to come.
We're just more than a week away from Thanksgiving, and despite vaccinations this year, there is still a level of uncertainty about the pandemic. What could happen in the weeks and months to come?
I'm concerned about whether we have enough people vaccinated to weather a winter surge.
UCSF epidemiologist Dr. George Rutherford says the current situation in California is not as dire as it was a year ago, when there was a rapid increase in cases in mid-November ahead of the holidays. But there are still some similar trends. Cases are rising, just not as fast.
If you look at the 2020 data, by the current dates, we're sort of right on track for what happened last year.
This graphic from the ABC 7 News data team shows daily cases in the Bay Area going back to the beginning of the pandemic. Last year, around this time, you can see there was an average of about 924 cases a day. By comparison, last week, the Bay Area had an average of 753 cases. Statewide, this time last year, the state reported more than 10,000 cases a day. Currently, that number is just over 5,000.
How are you feeling about the state of cases here in California?
Not horrible, not great. It's somewhere in between. We're kind of at a balance point right now.
To keep the state from sliding too far in the wrong direction, Dr. Rutherford says more people need to get their booster shots and more young people need to get vaccinated. He says in England, it's adolescents aged 12 to 15 who have been slow to vaccinate and are now leading to a surge in cases. It's a lesson he believes Californians should take note of as we head into the holidays.
This is the most important month because what happens now is going to determine what's going to happen in December and January.
And he has one more piece of advice as we prep for Thanksgiving feasts.
Don't cook the dressing inside the turkey. And if you want to do that, sorry, salmonella spelled with 3 L's.
Duly noted. None of us want undercooked stuffing this Thanksgiving. All right, as for COVID, Dr. Rutherford says the Bay Area is overall doing quite well. He's really most concerned about some rural parts of the state and parts of Southern California, specifically in San Bernardino and Riverside counties, where there are large areas with low vaccination rates. Dan.
Liz, Dr. Rutherford mentioned the situation in England, but other parts of Europe are seeing really a dramatic increase in cases lately. There's even some new lockdowns in place in some areas. Did he say if that's a sign of what could potentially happen here?
I did ask him about that, Dan. Thankfully, Dr. Rutherford does not believe we should be drawing any kind of parallels when it comes to the surge in Eastern Europe. He said those parts of Europe have not done a great job vaccinating people and compared it sort of to being in a state with a low vaccination rate. So for now, at least in California, what's happening there doesn't really provide too much insight in what we could expect here, Dan.
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, Liz, thank you.